Good morning everyone. Before going to start the oxygen dissociation curve, first we discuss the exchange of gases in the alveoli and in the tissue level. So the exchange of gases take place at two levels, that is at the pulmonary exchange, it is external exchange means in the alveoli. And the next one is the tissue level exchange, that is internal, going to the cells or tissue. So first we will define the partial pressure. That is, it is important. Due to it, the exchange of gases is possible. So the partial pressure is the pressure exerted by gas in a mixture of gas. As we know, the air is a mixture of gases, so the pressure exerted by a gas in a mixture of gases irrespective to air respective to the of concentration of other gases. So the partial pressure is the pressure exerted by a gas. Any gas can be there, oxygen, carbon dioxide, in a mixture. Both are found in the air, irrespective of concentration of other gases. The partial pressure in the inhaled air, that is oxygen, partial pressure of oxygen is 159 mm of mercury, and carbon dioxide partial pressure is 0.3 mm of mercury. As we already discussed, the air or oxygen or carbon dioxide always move from their partial pressure high to low pressure. So the gases diffuse from their high pressure, from their higher partial pressure to their lower partial pressure. The gases always diffuse to their higher partial pressure to the lower partial pressure. The inhaled air contains the oxygen percentage this one and the carbon dioxide percentage this one. In the alveoli, the oxygen partial pressure is 104 mm of mercury, PCO2 is 40 mm of mercury. All this is differentiable. As we know, the some air is always remain in the alveoli. It means it is a mixture of inhaled air and the exhaled air, or the foul smell or foul gases or the deoxygenated gases are also there. So the percentage is different in the inhaled air or in the alveolar air. So here I am showing the deoxygenated blood in the pulmonary artery, that is coming from the different parts of the blood to the right auricle, right ventricle, then into the lungs to the pulmonary artery. And the action of gases actually that taking place in the lungs, in the alveoli, and the oxygen diffuse inside. So what causes the diffusion? The oxygen diffuses in the pulmonary vein and the carbon dioxide in the from pulmonary artery to the alveoli. So what causes the diffusion of gases in the alveoli, in the pulmonary, in the lungs? The partial pressure. The partial pressure of the gas from higher to lower responsible for the exchange of gases at the pulmonary level. Now we discuss the tissue level exchange or the internal. At the tissue level, this is the aorta. Aorta, the largest artery that carry the oxygenated blood from the left ventricle to the tissues or organs. In the aorta, oxygenated blood is there. The oxygen pressure is 95 and the cardiac side partial pressure is 40. More oxygen pressure is there. In the tissue level, the oxygen is 20 and the cardiac side is 58, because the chemical reaction take place, the breakdown of glucose take place, oxygen is used, glucose breakdown, cardiac side is formed. So the cardiac side partial pressure is more and the oxygen percent is less. So from aorta, the air moves inside in the tissues. So the partial pressure oxygen 95, here 20. So the oxygen diffuse inside. Cardiac side is 58 mm of mercury at the vena cava. The vena cava, the largest vein that carry the deoxygenated blood. It collects the CO2 from the tissues and carry to the heart. So the cardiac side pressure is 58 here. This we are discussing at the tissue level. So the more pressure to the less pressure CO2 diffuse. So the main purpose of the diffusion of gases, that is the partial pressure of the gas from their higher partial pressure to the lower pressure. So from aorta to tissue level, the oxygen diffuses due to the due to the difference in the partial pressure. CO2 from the tissue level diffuse into the vena cava due to the difference in the same partial pressure. So next video discuss the oxygen dissociation curve. The both exchange of gases we have discussed, pulmonary exchange and the tissue level exchange. Now we will discuss the oxygen dissociation curve or oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve. Here we have taken the value percentage saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen. Here the partial pressure of oxygen in mm of mercury. So first we clear the heading oxygen dissociation curve. This is the graphical representation. The graphical representing the percentage saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen at different partial pressure. The factors determining the binding of oxygen with hemoglobin is partial pressure of oxygen. More the partial pressure, more the affinity of the hemoglobin with the oxygen. As we are observing here at 10 mm, the 50% saturation is there. At 20 mm, the 30% saturation is there. At the 50, the 30% is there. But at the 50, the 50 saturation at the 30 mm of mercury. So this is called 50, value 50. 50 value means at 30 mm of mercury, the 50% binding of oxygen with hemoglobin. It is clear the hemoglobin is 50% saturated. So it is called P50 value. P50 value, the hemoglobin is 50% saturated, nearly at 30 mm of mercury. 30 or here the 50. So the normal condition, you have to keep this point in mind, the P50 value near about 30 mm of mercury. Or And we also discuss the more the percentage, more the affinity of more the percentage, more the affinity of binding oxygen with hemoglobin. At 20 near about, if we discuss at 20 partial pressure, the percentage saturation is 30%. At 40 PO2, the percentage is 75%. At 95 O2, at 95 PO2 or partial pressure of oxygen, near about 97% of saturation. The 100% cannot be there. For that, the 140 mm of mercury is needed. The 100% saturation is not completed, because for that the 140 pressure, the atmospheric pressure is 140. But when we inhale the air, it becomes 104 mm of mercury. So the more the pressure, more the affinity to bind the oxygen. In the starting, the graph is more vertical, and in the later condition, it become horizontal or almost constant. So the more the pressure, it is clear in that. Now we discuss the factors that affect the percentage binding of hemoglobin with oxygen. So the first factor, that is PO2. The beyond, for example, when the PO2 is 60 to 80, when the PO2 is 60 to 80, the hemoglobin saturation is 90% or more saturated or highly saturated. When we go at a high altitude, the pressure become high altitude, the PO2 decrease. High altitude, the partial pressure of oxygen is decrease and the less saturation of hemoglobin. Pressure less combining or the affinity of hemoglobin with oxygen. So oxygen dissociation, less curve get towards the right side. Here the binding capacity is less. So the second one is acidity. As we already discussed, more the pressure, more the affinity, less the pressure when we go at high altitude, the less the dissociation is occur. It not bind the sufficient amount of oxygen. Number 2, acidity. The normal acidity, the pH is 7.4. So when the acidity is increasing, the acidity, the low pH, or we can say at the low pH. The pH is low, that is 7.2 or become less. The carbon dioxide, the oxygen dissociation curve moves right side, means the oxygen is free from the hemoglobin, or the percentage of saturation is lesser when the acidity decrease. So the high pH, for example, at high pH 7.6, at 7.6, the high affinity of oxygen binding. Less the pH, the affinity is less, because the as we have discussed, the H2O plus CO2 is equal to H2CO3. it dissociate into hydrogen. The dehydrogenase enzyme, carbonic dehydrogenase enzyme, combine with carbon dioxide and water, carbonic acid form. This dissociate and form the bicarbonate ion. So the proton is released. So the acidity is released. When the carbon dioxide is more, the acidic is there, then the high affinity towards the binding oxygen. Number third, temperature. The first is partial pressure of oxygen. Second, acidity, low pH, less affinity towards the hemoglobin, percentage saturation is less. At high acidity, more affinity of hemoglobin with oxygen. Number third, the temperature. The increase in temperature. With increase in temperature, the HbO2, the HbO2 unstable and dissociate. Means at high temperature, the binding capacity is less. In normal resting condition, the low temperature, or we can say at low temperature, oxygen not low body temperature, oxygen not dissociate. At high temperature, oxygen dissociate. So the normal resting condition, each 100 ml of deoxygenated blood contain 53 gram of gaseous carbon dioxide. Or the following factors that help in the dissociation of or the help in the percentage saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen. If the curve bind here, means the less binding percentage. If it goes straight, more the saturation of hemoglobin with the oxygen. So this is the fact. These are the factors that help or that determine the oxygen dissociation curve or oxygen binding capacity with the hemoglobin. The shape of the curve is a specific type. That is the S shape. So the oxygen dissociation curve, the shape is sigmoid. Sigmoid or S shape. In the starting, it become more increase, and at the higher pressure it become horizontal or less increase. And the PO2, here we discuss the PO2, the carbon dioxide, CO2, PCO2. For example, the CO2 concentration or partial pressure of concentration, with the increase in partial pressure of carbon dioxide, the curve bend towards right side. It means the HbO2 complex dissociate. When the carbon dioxide increase, the HbO2 dissociate. If the carbon dioxide percentage more, the HbO2, the hemoglobin dissociate with oxygen. This is called Bohr effect. This is called Bohr effect. With increase in partial pressure of carbon dioxide, the oxygen dissociation curve bends towards. For example, when the oxygen is less, that can be occurred due to the lactic acid formation also. The lactic acid is formed, the oxygen binding capacity become less. Now we discuss the breathing or the control of respiration.